Alright guys, I'm back with a new video. What we're gonna do today is we're gonna make a manual fan switch while keeping your regular temperature switch intact. So the fan will come on once the bike reaches between 200 to 220 degrees Fahrenheit. The fan will kick on. But let's just say you're sitting in traffic or at a light, and you can see that the bike is steadily climbing. The temperature is getting higher, getting higher and higher. You can actually just flip a switch and turn the fan on manually. Alright, let me show you how you're going to do this. Basically, it's a tab back here, so you can see that tab. See if I can focus on it. It's a tab right here. That's a tab. You push down on this tab, and you see that lever lifting up. You push up on the tab, pull it off. You can see the little hook right there. That's for that lever. Now, this wire, basically when the temperature on the thermostat reaches the correct temperature to trip the fan, it's basically creating a loop. So as you can see here, this is positive. The orange one, that's positive, and the black one is negative. Now, if you touch those two together, the fan will automatically come on if the key is in the on position. Let me show you. Alright, so I got this paper clip, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to touch these two wires together, and you're going to hear the fan turn on. Before I do that though, I got to turn the key here in the on position. So alright, here it's in the on position. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to touch it to the other one. Now you're going to hear this fan turn on. Now you heard that? That's the fan actually kicking on. Let's try it again. So that lets you know once the positive and negative touch, it creates a loop and the fan automatically turns on if the key is in the on position. So what we're going to do is make a switch for this. Alright, let's turn this back off. I'm going to make a switch for it. Now here, all I have is a on-off switch. On, off. When it's on, it trips in here and it basically makes a loop. So it's connecting these two wires together. And then in the off position, it's separating it. So let me show you how it works. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take these two wires and I'm going to put one in one side of this connector and one in the other side. And we're going to see if this fan actually turns on. Give me a second. Now as you see, I have both wires in here, and that wire is running to the switch. Now once I turn the bike on, okay, as you can see, the wires are still plugged in here. Gonna go up here, and what we're gonna do is first we're gonna make sure these wires aren't touching up here. Okay, now you see nothing's touching, and then when I flip this switch, if you turn on this side, it tells you what's on and off. So what that's gonna do is that's gonna make it so if I'm sitting at a red light or a long light or in traffic or something, if my bike temperature is starting to rise, I can kind of manually turn my fan on so that my bike doesn't have to reach that, you know, 200 to 220 Fahrenheit and kick on it. I'll already turn it on so it'll, you know, kind of cool it down a little bit before I start driving again. And basically that's all you have to do. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these two wires and I'm going to splice them and solder them into these two wires before the connector. Then I'm going to plug the connector in. Then I'm going to run my wire up here and I'll have the switch, you know, probably here. Probably have the switch right there beside my other switch. And then I'll make it where I could turn my fan on anytime I want to. Now, if you decide that you don't want to turn your fan on when the bike reaches the 200 to 220 Fahrenheit ratio, the fan will kick on its own because this is still connected. So as long as the switch is off, it's gonna loop anyway. You don't have to turn it on. Alright guys, give me a second. I'm gonna do some soldering and we're gonna see how it turns out. I got the two wires soldered in. This I just went on and put the black and red wire with the negative and then the red wire with the positive. You know, it kind of helps me to know which one's negative and which one's positive, even though it doesn't matter. These right here are the heat shrinks that I'm going to slide over top of these to cover the solder. As you can see, I kind of just have the wires zip tied together so that I can slide this heat shrink over it without it splitting it before it dries or whatever. So I got it spliced in. This is the actual connector, and I routed it up here. It goes up under, and then it's like behind here, and then it goes up here, and here's my switch. See, I got it all nice and clean. Alright, so when I turn my bike on, it works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put this solder, put these heat shrink tubes over the solder, get them down real good, and I'm going to go ahead and hook everything back up and slide this piece of material back over the wires. Alright guys, give me a second. Let me get that done and we'll come back. Alright, for you guys that don't really know how solder and heat shrink work, once you solder the wires together, you know, that's probably the best connection you're going to be able to get. All you do is you take this heat shrink tubing and you put it over it like this, and then you take your lighter and you basically melt this around the wire, and it has like glue in the inside, and that glue adheres to the wire itself. So you see how I got that on there? You know, I give it a little squeeze, kind of get it on there real good. Alright, so that's one wire covered, and then I'm just gonna do this second one. It's kind of hard to do this with one hand, but I'm gonna slide this across it like this. Slide it across, about right there. Get your lighter. There you go. And you just put heat to it until you see it shrinking up. It has glue in the inside of it. Try to get the whole wire around it. And all it does is shrink it down. And you kind of I just give it a little squeeze. It's hot though. so be careful. If you can look in there, you can kind of see the glue. If I can focus it, let's see. See that glue in there? See, it's glue on the inside. But now that's how a wire is supposed to look. That's together. Then all I'm gonna do is slide this over top of these, if I can get them over it, and hook everything back up. Alright, so I got the covering back up, and I put a little tape on it, and I took a zip tie and I tied the wires together so that they won't split. And all you're gonna do is you're gonna plug this back in, put that back in, and then after that I'm gonna take this Christmas tree and snap it back up here and kind of make sure everything's ran real good and tight. But that's it, guys. That's how you do it. And just to show you with this hooked together and soldered and everything that it still works, it's off. See, the switch is off. Turn the bike on. That's the fan. So anytime my bike even looks like it's about to start overheating, that's all I gotta do. Alright guys, it was nice doing this video for you guys. If you could hit that thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down if you don't, leave me a comment, and guys, subscribe. The more subscribers I get, the more videos I'll do. Alright guys, have a good one.